Hello and welcome to my channel Health and Wellness with Emma Mentel. Thank you for watching. Welcome to all the new subscribers and thank you for your comments. I really appreciate that. Tonight I want to just touch on a few of my biggest reasons for including fasting on my healing journey, and also why I decided to teach fasting in groups and to clients. I've been insulin resistant for about 20 years, and the whys of that I've explored, but probably at the time, and that was sort of in my mid-30s, I had a lot of sleep deprivation, there was a lot of stress, and we know with disrupted sleep over periods of time that, especially if it's a long period and combined with stress and then everything that goes with that some individuals would be more susceptible to becoming insulin resistant. And at the time I was very fortunate to have an integrative practitioner to make me aware of the fasting insulin that was creeping up, even though my blood glucose at the time was perfectly fine. Unfortunately, I didn't realize the importance of really considering my carbohydrate intake, and at the time it wasn't a popular approach at all. So unfortunately, I probably neglected that to a large degree, and only in the last 10 years or so started to become more aware of the importance of really lowering my carbohydrate intake, on focusing on blood glucose support. And then in the last 3 or 4 years I've been including fasting as a tool, and more so in the last 2 years as one of the approaches to help me resolve some of the root causes. So yes, weight loss has been one of those challenges for me, and I have lost and gained weight over the years, which, as we know, can become its own story and its own theme of frustration and feeling stuck and questioning one's self-image, questioning that you have what it takes to stick to something, and then just life getting in the way of all kinds of things. But I feel extremely encouraged to share the miracles that fasting can offer, and it's so brilliant to see so many fasting experts and fasting coaches emerging and telling their stories and the success they have with their clients or groups. So I'm currently completing an 8-week course with a group. It's, I think, my 8th or 9th group now. And then my next 8-week introduction to fasting will start on the 20th of March. And I take a group through each of these weeks with a weekly Zoom call with some recommendations, and slowly but surely getting them to feel more confident and more comfortable with fasting. I want to also point out and highlight that I have found that the introduction of fasting is not successful for those who eat a dirty diet, if I can call it that. And by dirty I mean eating lots of bread, lots of pasta, potatoes, and a lot of the gluten containing foods. Somebody who is relying on a lot of carbohydrate rich foods to make up most of their meals. So in the first 2 weeks I teach my participants to just clean up and I give them like a traffic light system, a green list of foods that they can freely eat, an orange list of sometimes foods, and then a red list of all the inflammatory foods. And the red list will be foods like bread, like pasta, potatoes. It'll be the inflammatory oils like canola oil, margarine, and all those other seed oils that keep us deeply stuck in inflammation. So in the first 2 weeks, just by cleaning up and by focusing on really nourishing foods, adequate protein, good fats like your coconut oil, your olive oil, your butter, your ghee, you slowly but surely start developing a better tolerance for hunger. And then slowly but surely I get my participants to perhaps implement the 16-8 principle, which is 16 hours of no food, 8 hours of an eating window. And then when they're comfortable with that and their hunger is now less, they feel less cravings, they feel that their energy has improved, we then attempt perhaps a 24-hour fast. And for some of my participants, when they get to like a 48-hour fast in the first 8 weeks of this course, they feel like a big breakthrough. Because most people cannot imagine that you can go for 48 hours without food, without feeling absolutely terrible and low in energy and like you can't focus. But actually the opposite is true. So the first step towards approaching this introduction to fasting is to actually clean up what you eat, is to start becoming more aware of nourishing foods, is to focus on the foods that will keep you full and that won't spike your blood glucose. And there's all kinds of tips that I teach people. And for me, personally, I have been absolutely blown away and amazed with my long fasts, which just get easier and easier every time. I will never recommend that somebody who's just recently started with maybe a 16-8 approach or who've managed a 24-hour to just jump in and try a 72-hour or a 5-day fast. And this to me, I compare to fitness training. Some people take a little bit longer to feel comfortable with running a long distance or with walking for an hour. Some people have to prepare a little bit more for the marathon. That doesn't mean that you are failing if you are somebody who takes a bit longer to get used to this approach. It also doesn't mean that you lack willpower if you find that you revert to old habits and that you still crave foods that are not on your green list, or even that you still resort to comfort eating. I think comfort eating is one of those mechanisms that we resort to when our nervous systems are feeling overwhelmed, when we feel burdened by the day or by the to-do list. Maybe we feel alone. Maybe we feel very stressed or very angry or very upset and maybe even bored. I do have some participants and clients who tell me that when they get bored, they want to eat. But here's the window of opportunity to have these breakthroughs. So that if you know that you typically want to go and look in the fridge or look in your pantry for something to eat when you're feeling bored, you may not even be hungry at the time. Try and find something to do. Try and start a new hobby. Try and deal with the boredom, because that's actually the cause of the comfort eating. If you are somebody who is prone to comfort eating, when you feel very stressed, perhaps find ways to regulate your nervous system. Find music that you can play or an activity that you can do, maybe some breathing, maybe a meditation, maybe a walk. Maybe some drawing or adult coloring is great as a creative tool, and even journaling. I really recommend that my fasting participants and my clients start to journal, write down those feelings, give it a voice. If it's something that needs to be said or heard and you don't have an opportunity to have a conversation with somebody, sit and write it down. Here you are getting to know yourself better, and you are paying attention to your needs. You are prioritizing your well-being, and you are acknowledging and recognizing the things that get in the way of you and your healing journey and your intentions. I don't like to refer to goals as such, but sometimes we have to look at a goal in terms of perhaps addressing someone's metabolic health, whether it's their blood glucose levels or their fasting insulin levels, other inflammatory markers. So those can be goals to make sure that we are addressing the things on the health level as such, that we are ensuring that your blood glucose becomes better managed. But intentions can be used to define how you want to feel most of the time, where you would like to see yourself at in a year's time from a health point of view, and how you want to feel, how you want to walk, that you want to sleep better, that you want to feel more in tune with your body and not use food as a comfort or a numbing tool. Food essentially is a fuel. It's there to fuel our cells. It's there to fuel us. It shouldn't be something that we use to numb. So if you want to find out more about my fasting courses, there are links on my channel, also on my Instagram account. I do post all the updates. There's an email that you can get hold of me if you feel that you would perhaps like to try out an introduction to fasting. If you feel like you are ready perhaps to introduce something like fasting to address unhealthy eating habits and to give your body the ability to start repairing and healing. To me, it's absolutely miraculous what happens when we use a fast as a healing tool. And even though it's not for everybody and we have to approach it with the individual in mind, whether it's a woman who still has cycles or whether it's somebody who's really unwell, there's a room for fasting. There's a way in which we can incorporate and implement a fasting for everybody. For some people, maybe less frequently, and others are more resilient and they feel more confident to try something that might be foreign to them. From a health point of view, there's always ways in which we can support your healing journey, whether it's around gut health, whether it's around your moods, whether it's around your ability to adapt to stress, whether it's around your hormonal health. So I'd love to know if you have tried fasting. Please let me know in the comments. And I'd love you to join me on my next fasting course. You can also watch some of my other videos that I made during my long fasts and my own personal resets if you want to find out more. Enjoy your day or your evening wherever you are. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your subscriptions, and I appreciate you.